Hey everyone, what's going on? Jeff here from Films at Home, and today we've got Paul Newman's finest movie on 4K Ultra HD from Warner Brothers. Hey everyone, so thanks for coming back to the channel today for this 4K UHD review of Cool Hand Luke, the Paul Newman classic. This is what everybody knows Paul Newman for, right? And this is presented by Warner Brothers as part of their 100th anniversary celebration. So in this review, I won't talk about the movie too much. What more could be said about Cool Hand Luke that hasn't already been said? It's been analyzed a million times and reviewed. So we'll jump right into the video transfer. We'll talk about the audio, the packaging, and the special features, and let you guys know whether or not this one's worth upgrading for your collection. So Cool Hand Luke comes here on 4K for the first time with a new transfer from Warner Brothers, and if you have the previous Blu-ray release of this movie, you're going to see a huge improvement. The Cool Hand Luke Blu-ray, which I did own in my collection, has a very old DVD era compression VC1 encoding, so it really did not look great. It's a pretty rough looking Blu-ray. It's maybe just a baby step ahead of DVD quality. It is not a great looking visual. So on 4K here, we're obviously expecting a pretty big leap, and it is. It's a very big difference between the Blu-ray and the 4K, but I'll say that this is not one of the best looking 4K movies that I've ever reviewed, but that doesn't come down to the transfer, I think, as much as the source. So the movie itself is sort of gritty and dirty, and that's what the movie is. It's not super visually appealing. It's sort of this like character study for Paul Newman above all else. And so it doesn't have a bunch of great visual moments, and you can still see there's some issues with the transfer. Like, it's not egregious. It looks really, really good compared to what we have. But I think there's got to be something going on with the source. It may just not have the best source, or potentially, when it was shot, a lot of it was shot with like daylight. It wasn't really shot in a studio. Like, maybe that's just part of the issue too, is it's not as pristine as something that would have been shot in a more controlled environment, and that's going to affect how the negative looks and how any remaining source material looks. And then, as good as you can get it on 4K from those source material, it's probably what we have here. So I'll say it's very solid. Like, if you've only seen this on Blu-ray, you probably know how bad that Blu-ray is, and this takes it to the next level. Also, adding HDR is a big step forward. It is a little bit on the warm side, so if you're not used to that, that could be a little jarring, but I don't mind it because this is a very, I'd say, warm movie. It's a very cool movie, but also a very warm movie. I mean, these guys are out there working the chain gang in the sun, burning up. I mean, that's it. It feels like a hot, claustrophobic movie, right? At times it feels very humid, if that makes sense. So I didn't mind that the color grade on this skewed a little warmer. At times it does get a little orangey on the skin, but it's really not that bad, and I do think it's a big improvement over the 1080p Blu-ray. It's far better than what we've ever had, and for that reason I'm happy as a fan, because all I ever want is the best possible presentation, and sometimes it isn't possible to make a movie look any better. I talked about this when I reviewed Rocky. Those are rough looking movies. Now they look a little bit less rough, but they still have a really rough look and feel, and that's sort of the same experience with Cool Hand Luke's. But if you've seen this movie and you can enjoy it for that fact, and you're not expecting something that looks like it was shot yesterday, you're going to have a great time with this disc. Now, on the audio side of things, we're also getting an upgrade because, believe it or not, the Blu-ray release of Cool Hand Luke had a lossy Dolby Digital audio track, so it didn't even have lossless HD audio. Here we get a 2.0 DTS HD mono track, so you've got the two channels. It's an older movie, it's pretty front heavy, it's also largely dialogue driven, and so the 2.0 works well here. Didn't have any major issues, did crank the volume just a couple notches because it is so dialogue heavy. Wanted to make sure I got the dialogue clear and crisp, but it wasn't a major adjustment, and it sounds pretty good. I mean, given it is sort of it's mostly dialogue driven drama here, I didn't need much more than that. I don't need 5 channels. I don't need Atmos. It's not the kind of movie that would call for it. So I was very happy with this, and I think it is very faithful to that original mono audio, as close as they can probably get that, and it is a huge improvement over Dolby Digital tracks, which are should never have been on Blu-ray considering it's an HD format. So, you know, they bumped up the audio here, they bumped up the video, and the AV presentation. This is by far the best we've ever seen this film. Now for packaging, you do get this Warner Brothers 100th anniversary slipcover where Warner Brothers 100th it's pretty prominent. Like they throw it up there in the slipcover. The artwork on this is nice. I like that. Same on the inside. And then popping it open, just a little bit of artwork on both the Blu-ray and the 4K discs. You also do get the digital code, which will redeem in 4K. But if you don't redeem it right away, I would recommend it because Warner Brothers tends to like get rid of their expiration dates are usually pretty strict. Like I just bought a copy of Watchmen the other day on 4K from groove.com and I couldn't redeem the digital code even though it's a 4K movie that only released a few years ago. So make sure you redeem it. But special features wise on the 4K disc, there's just a commentary, but that's at least nice to have that with a Eric Lax. So he's a Paul Newman biographer and historian, so that gives you some interesting insight into Paul Newman specifically and how this role sort of impacted his career. And then on the Blu-ray disc, you get a documentary, A Natural Born World Shaker, about making Cool Hand Luke, and then the theatrical trailer. So a little light on the features for a 100th anniversary release. Who knows how much stuff they actually had to work off of. It would have been nice to get some more interviews or something like that. But a commentary track and, you know, theatrical trailer, it's better than nothing. So overall, while this may not be the most impressive 4K disc in your collection, in terms of this movie and in context of the way that this has looked in the past, this is a very impressive step forward. Do I think more could have been done? I don't know. We'd have to dive in and ask Warner Brothers about that one. I don't know the details on what kind of source material they have. I don't know what it looked like. I don't know if they could go even from a negative or like an inner positive. We don't have the answers to that for this movie, or at least I don't have those answers. Someone does. But, you know, I think it's at least a nice leap forward and fixes a lot of what was wrong with the Blu-ray, with old compression, old encoding, poor color, old audio that you would have got on a DVD track. Like, it fixes all of that, and it does give this movie new life in 4K with a great HDR color grade that I do appreciate. So I give it, you know, like a 4 out of 5, 3.75 out of 5, but in the context of the movie itself, looking at Cool Hand Luke over home video history, this is a pretty solid release, say 4.5. It's good, and it's one you're going to want to grab. So if you do want to pick this up, I'll leave a link in the description where you can purchase this from Amazon to help support my channel, so I appreciate that. As always, make sure you're subscribed here on YouTube for the latest 4K reviews. Check out the Films at Home podcast for all the latest interviews with home entertainment and executives and special features producers and collectors and just people who work in this industry at different labels. Great information if you want to dive in. Yeah, I'm tooting my own horn a little bit, but I'm really proud of what I've done there. So go check that out. And of course, follow me on social media for all the latest in what's going on in films at home in my life. I appreciate everybody over there who's been following on Twitter, Instagram. Those have been blowing up lately, so thank you. And of course, make sure you check out all the links down in the description for ways you can support our partners and support the channel and my content. So thank you for watching this. Have a great rest of your day. Stay safe, stay healthy. Go pick up Cool Hand Luke if you want the best presentation of this movie that we've ever had on home video, and I will talk to you all soon.